Welcome everybody. We wanted to talk really quickly about what to do if you are mixing up Keto Chow and it's too thick or too thin. What to do if you can't finish one or if you're left hungry after you eat some Keto Chow.
So a couple of things, if it's too thick or too thin, it's really easy to fix. You add water, or when you mix it, you put less water in. So you can thin it out with water, or you can make it not as thin.
Which doesn't help you if it's already mixed up. I mean, it's like, well, I guess I'll use less next time.
I can't take water out, but then next time you can just know that you want less water if you want it thicker.
Yeah.
Also, when you leave it overnight, it just gets a little thicker. So if you know that ahead of time, you can put a little bit more water, or when you pull it out of the fridge that morning, you can just easily add some water if it feels like it's too thick. Oh, that's really thick. Okay, add a little bit of water, shake it up. No problem.
And we put on the instructions to use about 14 ounces of water. That's no means an absolute, you have to use this much. That's a general guidance. Add more if you want it to be thinner. And most of the complaints that people have with the texture, they're like, oh, this is just too thick. It's like pudding. It's like, add more water. It's actually really that easy.
It's really easy. One thing that we love so much about Keto Chow is you can customize it to how you like it. So if it's too thick, add more water. If it's too thin, just add less water next time, and it's really great.
We've also noticed that if you use heavy cream, it tends to mix up a lot thicker. If you use butter or avocado oil or something like that, it's significantly thinner. Next we want to talk about if you, sometimes people will pipe in and they'll say, hey, I had Keto Chow and I was full for hours. And then people will say, well, I tried some and I was like hungry 3 hours later. What's up with that? Well, so if you're eating Keto Chow and you, if you are hungry after eating it, or drinking it rather, that generally means that you don't have enough fat in the shake. Don't fear the fat, especially if you're just starting off a ketogenic diet. And the reason for this is you've been burning glucose. Your insulin is really high. This is when you're first starting off especially. And when your insulin is really high, it locks away fat in your cells. You can't access that until your insulin comes down. And when you are starting off a ketogenic diet, you reduce the amount of glucose that you're eating, the amount of sugar or the carbohydrates. So that's a good thing. So you should start being able to access the stored fat. Except it takes a while for your insulin to come down. And until that comes down, you won't be able to access the fat that's stored away. So you can have a lot of stored fat, but you won't be able to get to it. In which case, the only way to get the energy that you need is to have fat in the food that you're eating, which means load up on calories, especially when you're first starting keto.
Get yourself fat adapted.
Yep. And that's one thing that really helps people starting off is, I mean, seriously, put quite a bit more calories than you would expect to need. And they call it eating ad libitum. As much as you want until you're full, until you're satiated is the term.
And then when you discover how much makes you full, then you can adjust it. So if you can't finish Keto Chow, then you can just say, okay, well, I did a fourth cup of heavy cream. Well, I know that that's going to make me too full. I'm not going to have that much. So just play with it for a few days until you find what makes you satiated, and then stick with that for a while.
Yeah, and Keto Chow by design is supposed to give you a third of your daily nutrients. So if you find yourself unable to finish one in a good amount of time, or if you're only eating like half of one, well, that's fine if you're like a teenager or a child, which I suspect most of the people watching this will not be children. But so for instance, for our 9-year-old son, he rarely finishes a whole Keto Chow. And you know what, that's fine.
He doesn't need to,
for the nutrients
it's an
he
adult
needs.
serving.
Yeah.
So.
But if you're an adult and you can't finish one, you're going to be missing out on protein, vitamins, and minerals. So you may want to consider lowering the amount of fat in the shakes in that case. Because you obviously are able to access stored fat. The Keto Chow is low in carbohydrates. It's not raising your insulin. So your body is supplying the fat that you need. So take some off your plate, or in this case, out of your cup or bottle or whatever you want to call it. So reduce the amount of fat, and you should be able to finish one quite easily. That way, like Miriam said, it's very customizable. You can get whatever fat amount you want. Customize Keto Chow to fit your needs. So
that's what we got.
That's
If
it.
you have any follow-up questions, comment below. We can make more videos. If you have any questions, please comment, and we'll be happy to make more videos. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good day.